Hello everyone, welcome to the part 4 of this tutorial series. So here mainly we are going to talk about figures, and we are also going to talk about how do we exactly reference figures, tables, sections, etc. by not really paying attention to their exact number, the exact figure numbers or things like that. So first of all, before we talk about figure, let's talk about PDF and PNG figure. So there are figures such as like PNG, JPEG, JPG, etc. And then there are figures such as like SVG, PDF, right, or EPS, this kind of format. So these are called vectorized format. So what is their basic difference? So I will not talk theoretically here. Let me show practically what is the difference. So if you look at this particular figure, let me zoom in a lot, right? There is no breakage. Do you see any breakage in this text? It's perfectly fine, right? This is because this is a PDF figure. So PDF, EPS, SVG figure, they do not really break. Okay, they do not break, and they remain perfect as it is. But if you look at a PNG figure, which is this one, this is a PNG figure. So if you actually zoom in right here, you can see that the text is actually breaking now. The text is breaking, right? You can see here it is because it's a PNG image. So ideally in papers and reports you should be using PDF, I mean these figure types, and LaTeX actually supports all of these. So all of these are supported by LaTeX. Now let's actually show how do we insert a figure in LaTeX overleaf, right? So first of all, I would recommend you to make a figures folder, and as I showed in the previous video, you can just right click here and make a new folder. And after creating that, you can just right click on this and upload, and you can upload your figures from your local PC, right? So I have uploaded two figures in this folder. One is a PDF figure and one is a PNG figure, just to show you how it works. So let's see how we insert a figure in the introduction section. So as you can see here, the figure right here is already inserted, right? So in the introduction section, you can see this beautiful figure right here. So how do we insert this? Let me explain this in detail. So first of all, you have this particular code for figure insertion, and this is where you specify the path of the figure in the input graphics. And this is something you do to specify how big the figure should be. One means actually the figure should be the same size as it is originally. I can actually make it smaller. Let's make it 0.5, right? And see how the size changes. You can see that the figure has shrunk quite a bit, right? Okay, so this is what width is all about. So it should be ideally from 0 to 1. You can even make it like 1.2, 1.3 or 2, but then it will exceed the margin width of your article, and that is something which is not desirable. This is just the caption of the figure. So you can see the caption of the figure right here, application of tools, the caption of the figure. And I will talk about label shortly. You don't need this. You don't need to write this here to make the figure. You can just omit this if you want. But there is a purpose for which I wrote it here. I will mention this in detail now, a bit later basically. Then you have centering. This is also optional. Centering means your image will be at the center of your overleaf page. So you can see that it is in the center of the document. If you don't actually put it here, it will be left aligned. So I think centering is a good thing to do. Let's now talk about HTBP. Again, this is optional. You don't have to write this here, but let me actually tell you what this means. H means here. That means if it is possible for the LaTeX will place your figure exactly right here after these text, and which it did right here because it could do what we expect. Then if it cannot place it here, say your figure is too big, right, or it is too small or something like that. Then what it will try to do is it will try to place it at the top of the current page. So current page, this is the current page. It will try to place it at the top of the current page. If it cannot do that, then it will try the bottom, right? It will try the bottom. And if it cannot do that as well, then it will actually look P for page. Then it will look for some other page to put the document, to put the figure, right? So it will look for somewhere very close to your actual figure page. So it will try to put the figure right there. So basically in Word or in other software, you know that you have to manually do these things, and it can be very cumbersome writing those documents. When you keep writing those documents, it will be very cumbersome. So basically you cannot, I mean, there will be much problems you are going to face, but not in LaTeX. In LaTeX, you can just mention these things clearly and it will work. Okay. And so finally, after these things, so I mean, you now understand the figure, right? It's very simple. I will recommend you to use these things because it will make your life much easier. Now let's talk about the other thing, which is this. How do we insert PNG image? Exactly same thing, just write the correct extension right here. So if you manage to do that, then you will successfully insert the image right here. So that is basically the uh, image insertion. Now I will recommend you a few things for image first. First of all, some people may tell you to actually make these PDF or SVG images using LaTeX. So there is like text here, other things in LaTeX which you can actually use to generate these high resolution figures, but it is very cumbersome to use. There is no need to do it. So I will show you some examples now. So you can see this figure right here. So for this kind of simple figure, which is like a flowchart type, you can simply use something called draw.io. You can simply use draw.io, and let me show you how to use it. I mean, I will not show you how to use it, but let me show you how to access it. So if you have a Gmail account, you can access it. Just go here, go to your Google Drive, maybe go to a folder, maybe I go to temp folder, or maybe tutorial folder which is empty. Then type new right here, and then you go to more, and then just type draw.io. So it's a web browser based software. It's a web software. So in this web app, you can just like draw images. Let me show you, open this for you just to show you what it is all about. So if you can just create it, and then you can work with all sorts of diagrams. It's very easy to use and very intuitive as well. Now, when you start this app initially, you will not see draw.io right here. So you will need to connect to more apps, and there you can search for draw.io, right? And see, in my case, it's already installed, so I don't have to do anything here. Okay, fine. So that is draw.io. Now this is for simple images, but what if you want to make this kind of images, which is not so simple, right? It's pretty complicated. Draw.io is not going to be a good choice for these things. So what I would recommend you to do is to use Inkscape for it. Inkscape, okay, an offline software. So you need to download it and you need to install it in your local PC. So this is Inkscape, and it's a free software. You don't have to make any payment for this one. So these are two very easy options to draw high resolution figures, and you can save the figures in PDF or in EPS format. So there is no need to use TXZ and other things of LaTeX, which are very cumbersome to use. Finally, let's talk about double column figure. So you can see that this is a double column paper, right? So there are two columns right here. So so you can see that normally images will actually expand single column. So how do you actually make them double column, right? How do you do that? For example, how do you do this, right? Expand them in double column. So for that case, what you need to do is you just need to go here, and you need to write star right here. Okay, so if you write star in begin and end, then LaTeX will understand that you want to expand the whole image in the double column. Okay, so that's it. So finally, I want to talk about cross-referencing. So let me come here. So you can see in conclusion, let me talk about conclusion section here. In conclusion, it is written here that this is the conclusion section where, okay, figure 1 has been shown in section 1. And if you click on figure 1, it will actually take you to figure 1. If you click on section 1, it will actually take you to section 1. Now, how do we do this? Like, how do we actually write figure 1 here? Now, one way is you can just write text, right? You can just write 1, figure 1. But what is the problem with that? As we go on with our document, maybe we can insert some more figures before figure 1, right? So figure 1 can be at the end become figure 3. And maybe section 1 can be section 2. Section 3 or section 4, right? It can change. So then we have to manually change those numbers in our text. So what we can do is we can actually create references. So let me show you how to do it. So here I have written figure ref, fig application. So what is fig application? You can see that in figure 1, I have labeled this figure 1 using fig application. So I am simply referencing this label. And that's about it. Okay, now it will appear figure 1 has been shown in section, whatever that is. Okay. And let's talk about this section. Section you can actually label in the same way. So you can see this section right here, and you see that I have a label right here, sec intro. This is my label, okay? And so I can simply use ref right here. So ref sec intro. That means has been shown in section 1. So currently this section is the first section. So the labeling will be label 1. Now if you put another section here, let me put another section dummy, and let me compile it. You can see that now it is section 2, right? So automatically the numbering changed. So that is the beauty of cross-referencing. You can cross-reference section, subsection, chapter, figure, tables, etc. Okay. So table we will discuss in the next video tutorial. Okay. And this whole document, this whole project is given in the GitHub link, and GitHub link is in the description. And the next part, the part 5, is also the part 5 video, or the YouTube link is also given in the description. So make sure to check that out. Thank you.